Please.
Are you some kind of joker?
Hello?
Yo, I think I mistakenly muted myself. My bad.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna wait for 13 more people and then we start because I wanna eat
Yeah, no
the
problem.
99 cut. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna mute people.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if people don't get muted, it's probably just gonna be all of us talking over each other the whole time. So
Yeah.
all right, we ready?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can start. You're already on 90 people, so we can probably start.
Yeah. I mean, this is I mean, it didn't fill up to 99, but this is still
No, it's
quite
about
enough.
to yeah, it's filling up.
Yeah.
So the way we're gonna do it, Bagley, is just a brief about moms, anything you can reveal and tell about the storyline,
Yeah.
and meanwhile we're gonna have people asking questions in confession chat, and I'm just gonna gather it as we go.
Yeah. So the best way to talk about Marms is probably to kind of introduce myself to anyone in here that might not know who I am. So I've been in crypto since I started trading crypto full time in December of 2017. I moved predominantly to focus on NFTs. I would say late February of 2021. Since that point, like part of my investment thesis in NFTs has been to be very involved in the communities, and it led to some roles at certain communities previously. So I was the first community person / moderator for Proof Collective and Moonbirds. Now Proof Collective and Proof Collective got up to like a 150th floor, so it was literally a $450,000 community at one point. Moonbirds were a 40th floor at their peak, which was a $120,000 PFP. And after that, I became the lead community manager and partnerships lead at Boryoku Dragons. To my knowledge, Dragons still have the record for the highest all-time USD floor for like a mainstream collection, not like a boutique one of one Boogle's collection or whatever. But it was always part of my investment thesis to be intricately involved in these communities, just because I believe community is really like the driving force behind value. Honestly, in this, the way I see it, it's just it has to start there. It can't. It doesn't matter really what products you build in long term if there isn't a community there to support it. Just how I personally feel about all this stuff in this beautiful little niche world of ours. So, what I found in those roles was at times I became the most forward facing person in those projects, right? But behind the scenes, I didn't necessarily have all the power to make decisions. Now, this might come off as me sounding disgruntled or anything or something like that, but that's certainly not the case. Like I'm thankful for all the opportunities and all the networking effect and that these roles have given me. I'm at a point where I know most of the the high value operators in the space, most of the high value communities. So a couple things happen in those roles where I'll give you the most recent example. This isn't to FUD anyone. This isn't to talk shit about anyone or any project. Everything we got to remember behind these projects, there are people, and people are prone to make mistakes. But dragons, for example, were left out of the original Bonk airdrop. Something I was able to do because of just being around the space long enough and familiarity is I was able to talk with Nam, who is one of the founders of Bonk, right, about getting dragons a Bonk grant. I was able to secure that within days. I wanted to say within hours. I can't really exactly remember, but I was able to secure dragons a Bonk grant, which at Bonk's peak was worth over $200,000. Now, to my knowledge, I don't know of any other employee at an NFT project that was able to bring in that type of revenue by themselves. But ultimately, that was lost in a drain because for whatever reason, it just didn't move to a multi-sig quick enough. And that kind of really broke me because at the end of the day, it wasn't the person in control of the project that had to answer for it. It was me, right? Like I'm the one that had to go to Nam being like, hey, this is what happened. Those plans aren't going to happen now. Um, and it just kind of broke me to a point where it's like, I've spent a long time building up this social capital, this social equity in the space. And ultimately, I can no longer leverage it for things that I'm ultimately not in control of. Okay, I'll take the questions from the chat now after that introduction. Been thinking about this conversation surrounding Mars since the beach chat. I think. Is there a particular form structure that is required in order to really run with the IP? What opportunities you see? Okay. So yeah, I can draw back to an example from a prior experience I have in the space. Moonbirds. There was a ton of, I won't say a ton, but there was certainly a number of IP deals out there that existed for Moonbirds at the time. Um, Kevin Rose, for whatever reason, made the decision to take them to CCO, which I mean I think ultimately is one of the catalysts for the spiral they've been in since. IP rights as a holder, I think, just reinforces the thesis behind the blockchain, right? Blockchain ultimately is about provable ownership. So to me, the IP of Marms is really enabling the holder to do anything they want to with their NFT. Like there's endless possibilities. I can get into it here in a minute whenever I start showing you things that we have planned coming up. We actually just got artwork done for this initiative coming up that I'll show you, and it'll give you a little bit of ideas about IP. Okay. What is the breakdown of mint funds? Are you guys well, that question is I can tell you how we plan to hold the mint funds. I think 2024 sets up pretty bullish. So the funds that are kept in USDC will just be strict operating funds. Marms essentially is about aligning with the greater overall ecosystem on Solana. So there's going to be Sol from the mint that is parked in these validators and nodes. Bonk will be one of them where we park money. Now, I can't speak further legally on this, but what I've always wondered is I'm seeking counsel and clarity on these items, but like what I've always wondered is when you stake Sol from a project in a validator, what keeps you from yield within your community? Like I don't know if there's anything legally that does that. Um, So I'm not gonna say that's something that we plan to do, but if it is possible, I would certainly do it. Why does your project exist? What is the purpose of Marms? The purpose of Marms is that I believe NFTs, Solana, crypto in general, has proven their resiliency, and I think the way forward for these projects, it's like I've been in collectibles for a long time, even prior to being in crypto, and the communities that form around collectibles in general is it's pretty powerful, honestly. And what I've learned is that reflecting on my life, the world just increasingly moves digital. I don't think like if you just sit and think about all your lives, like it's far more digital from whenever you were born. I don't see collectibles going any different path. I think collectibles ultimately end up completely digital. Who's the artist? What other projects has he been a part of? How much is he getting paid in relation to the total amount of mint funds? What percent of okay? Um, yeah, okay. The artist is Sky Punch Studios. Sky Punch Studios have done the Bastards art. They've done Fuddies. They're structured to get. I paid them an upfront fee, and they're structured to get a small percentage of mint funds, which incentivizes them for to be a long term partner. Right. What percent of royalties will be applied to the collection? The royalties, as I understand them, are pretty fluid. You can change them as they go. So the idea is that 5% is the standard. So that will be the number we land on. Um, and then as volume slows down and that type of thing, we will adjust. How much of the funds are going to pay the team, and how much is going to build the project? Oh, dude, I got to tell you. So the structure we landed on with the art team is they get 5%, which incentivizes them to keep helping us pump out content and stuff like that. Everyone else, uh, everyone else I've hired gets a salary. The co-founder and I are not like I'm not doing this to cash grab. We so far we've put I would say 30,000 into the project, um, and it's been such a relief for me because looking at these other projects, you couldn't allocate funds without getting someone to sign off on it, which completely causes bottlenecks, and that's just been one of the most fulfilling things about this. Is like if we want something done, we'll do it, and I'll get into what we've spent money on here in just a minute. How post mint things will work. Like, what are you going to do to take Marms on top? Many hype projects have failed to kind of that kind of vibe they're giving before mint. Oh yeah, that's kind of what I'm there for. I know you. Post mint, I believe I've been one of the top community growth people in this space just because I am one of you guys. Like I'm not some pseudo businessman who is pretending like, oh, we're just gonna ship product. The projects I've worked for have reached tremendous heights, and they became some of the most coveted and most valuable collections in the entire space. And what I learned from that is that they kind of did it on the back of these grandiose promises that were not even possible to fulfill. Like if each of these projects just airdropped everyone 10,000 USD, it still wouldn't have met the expectations that they set. Um, I think this is where you have to borrow from Frank of D Gods. Frank, the reason that D Gods took off isn't because of anything they did. Like if we're sitting here talking, I don't know if we could really talk about anything that D Gods have done besides Utes and besides art upgrades, right? But the thing that really launched D Gods was that Frank was there every day. He was actively involved in that community. He had passion. You could tell he cared. Frank ultimately became a victim of his own talents in that he is an outlier hype man and an outlier marketer. Um, but yeah, it's like with Marms, the only thing I can guarantee, and I'm not saying there's not work happening to make other things happen, but the only thing I can guarantee is that if you ever have to ask the question, "Where's Bags at?" It's like there's only three possible things that happen. Either something happened to my family, I'm dead, or I lost my arms. And if I lose my arms, I'll learn to type with my toes. It'll just take a while. But that's the only time you'll have to ask those questions. I was here when Solana was $260. I was here when Solana was $8. I can't stop. Whether it be mental illness or just perseverance, I don't know, but I'll be here. What's the amount of one-on-ones in this beautiful collection? So the collection size, I mean, I understand there's not a lot of info out there. Collection size for anyone that doesn't know is 5,555. Of that 5,555, 10% of it is going straight to the treasury. Collection will have, we're thinking at the moment, there's been a ton of mock-ups, but the collection's going to have 25 to 30 one-on-ones in it. I think that's the correct number for a collection of that size. What is Marms providing to the community? I think that is just the entire thesis of Marms. Marms' thesis is that if you provide value to the ecosystem will provide value back to you, your project, and your holders. I think things like Bonk have set this precedence. Saga Mobile, the Saga Genesis token, has set this precedent. Um, and that's why, anyone that talked to me, Kratus can testify to this. Nothing could happen with collaborations until I locked in the official partnership with Saga Mobile. That to me was a tent pole, and it really sets the tone of what Marms are about. Marmots, the IRL animal, is a social character, right? Like they're social kings. They travel in packs. That is what I'm going to power Marms to do. We're we're not going to be competitive with anybody. I know a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, or late 2021, 22, it was like only one collection on Solana was allowed to succeed at time, and that caused a bunch of tribalism, which I always thought was immature and just dumb. It's how you ended up with these dragons versus Taio wars or whatever like that. But anybody that remembers the early days of dragons remembers I was hosting these poker nights. These poker nights are legendary in this whole space because everybody from every community showed up to them, and we were playing pretty high stakes poker. But it was the peak of the bull run, and the numbers didn't matter. It was every night there would be council members from Monkey DAO, Taio, Dragons. Everyone was involved in these games, and it was some of the most fun. And what you realize once you did that is like, no matter what your PFP was, like there was genuine connections made there, and from those games, relationships were built that ended up in some good projects too. I want to ask what's your motivation for Marms and what brings you to work on Marms, which involves Superman or time where you see Marms. Okay, yeah, I mean, I think I kind of covered this earlier, Thunder, when I talked about my experiences and my frustrations ultimately because of that. The the things that I've done to provide value to projects, I think, were alienated because I didn't have control over what these projects done. How does Marms incorporate sustainable practices in managing intellectual property, and what sets it apart of other projects, ensuring long-term viability and ethical considerations in the realm of intellectual property? Good question. So I know working in these projects that even the bigger projects don't really take steps to protect those things. Already, we've set up legal in Florida, Florida for tax purposes, obviously, and there is actual terms and filings along the lines of managing intellectual property. In your opinion, what does it take Marm's community to not only survive but also thrive? So yeah, this was my goal whenever I started thinking about the direction, the art, the look of the project, right? As someone who's been actively trading NFTs for almost 3 years now, and I've been a high volume trader along with that, what I've seen when I looked at the Solana and ETH NFT communities is that there's kind of a glaring hole in this type of character on Solana, where over on ETH, this type of character does a lot better. Traditionally, like Pudgy Penguins, Cool Cats, those type of projects have been some of the more popular projects on Ethereum. Now, whenever I look, personally, I am a pixel nerd. I love pixel art. That's my kind of thing. Um, but when I looked at it, it's like Solana has really, really, really strong pixel art. I don't think there's anything like Marms, looks wise, aesthetically, that exists on Solana at the moment. Will there be pre-sales and how will they be distributed? Yes, there will be pre-sales. So the supply I talked about is 5555. We are thinking right now it's going to end up 50% pre-sale, 50% whitelist. We're trying to avoid public because I mean I think we all know what happens with public drops, right? Like it's just completely gulped by bots. Dolphin Squad was similar hype to Marms, but right now we see them at low lows. Do we have any incentive to keep the 4+ high or something? Or that's what really people look for. Also on Bammy and Marm's Discord. Sorry. Dolphin Squad, I was just kind of heads down doing this Marm stuff behind the scenes. I didn't really see what happened there. To me, like I was familiar with Dolphin Squad from ETH, but that was kind of like I'm not talking shit about them. I think the minimalistic nature of the PFP is pretty cool, but it was an illiquid collection on ETH. I didn't understand why people thought it was going to have massive liquidity. Um, yeah, I don't know if that really answers your question, but yeah, I just kind of didn't understand the Dolphin Squad thing. Aside from the PFP appeal, I like the simplistic PFP appeal. What made you choose Marmot as the PFP? Dude, it's kind of funny because I live about 10 miles from this thing called Bucky's, and Bucky's in the United States is an absolute phenomenon. It's like a gas station meets a Walmart almost, and the logo is just this goofy beaver, and people absolutely love this fucking thing. And I drive by it every day, and I was just like, what makes this click? And then I come home, and my daughter is watching her iPad, and she's watching the BBC documentary where they like voiced over a bunch of animals, and they voiced over a marmot where it's just screaming, Alan, 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 Alan. And I was like, these things are fucking funny. So I ended up watching like 3 hours of marmot documentaries for no reason over it. And the more I learned about these animals, the more I thought they were just like absolute kings of the animal kingdom. Incompetent Maine. I think that's the same question I just answered.
You gotta do something with your free time, Bucks.
Yeah, I do. I do. I need hobbies. What's the thesis behind the marmot? Oh, okay, we already. Sorry, guys. Why did they use for announcement channels as sneak peek? I'm not really sure. Oh, I think you're talking about like why Marm's Discord is structured the way it is. It'll certainly be different post mint, but what we realized is that the momentum that Marms were gaining was something that was going to attract bad actors, right? So the OPSEC for Marm's Discord um, is pretty strict right now. I can't even ping people in there. Like I can't ping everyone in there. There's a timer set to everyone pings. And predominantly moving forward, announcements are not something, like the meta is the announcement of the announcement is what is really the mover for things. That's not how Mars is going to be structured. There's some things planned about Mint that I'm not going to share with you. There's some features in the Mint that I'm not going to share with you, um, that I think would be humongous marketing movers if I were to share them. But it's just not how I'm going to do things. Why Marmots will Mint Day be on February the 2nd, Groundhog Day? I just talked about why Marmots Mint Day. We did want to do February 2nd for Groundhog Day because I think it would be hilarious. But there's just a lot of things that have to be tied up behind the scenes right now. And I don't want to get everybody stressed out and trying to make that date happen. So it's looking a little bit different than February 2nd. But on February 2nd, I hope to have an animation ready for marketing that will, I think it'll do pretty well. Why did I choose Solana to launch Marms? Why not other chains? That's a good question, Spike. It's just clear to me that Sol is where fun is going to exist, honestly. Um, Ethereum is too expensive, it's too clunky. Like, whenever I first started using Solana for NFTs, like, I owned Solana before I ever opened a Phantom or anything. I just owned it on exchanges. It's like whenever I first used Phantom, the UI, the UX, the easiness of the chain really it really spoke to me, and I think narrative has shifted from this being the poor chain to now this is the chain where people are going to go to for fun. I don't have very high hopes for NFT PFPs to do very well on ETH going forward. I think it's going to be Solana and Solana only. And we're also seeing this with like shit coins and meme coins and stuff. It's just so much easier to do something and then have like a high probability thing for NFT collections is airdrops, right? Like, and it's just so much cheaper to do those type of things on Solana. Win pitch deck, never. I am who I am. I'm easily approachable. I like to talk. If you want to be pitched, I'll pitch you personally. Since there's no white paper yet, can you leak any info about it in the roadmap of Marms? Like I talked about earlier, man. I think roadmaps are just the easiest way possible to kill your project. Um, Roadmaps set these unrealistic explanations and or expectations, and I, think of your favorite project. Can you remember its original roadmap? I don't think I can. I don't think it mattered. What's your take on transparency and openness if Marms want to build long lasting relationships with their communities? I've always been an incredible proponent of transparency and openness. I think a lot of my previous roles and stuff like that, things happen and they were kind of just glossed over, and I think people they had the expectation that the community will just accept it and will will vouch for them no matter what. And I thought like most things that happen in this space that are just fuck ups or whatever are easily explainable, and everyone's human, and they'll come to a little bit of better understanding and be a little bit more willing to support you if you just talk about it and if you just tell them what happened. Like, I'm going to go back to Frank here. Frank one time said something that absolutely dropped my jaw whenever he said that the entire treasury from the original E-Gods Mint was basically lost because Sol plummeted and then they had to pay taxes. Like, I didn't think, like, and people responded to it positively. Like, it floored me, but it just was like a good lesson that if you nothing needs to be hidden, right? Like if you hide something, that's when it becomes a thing. In terms of strategic growth, how long have been planned for Marms? Also, where do you see Marms like from a year from now? Uh, how long have I been planning Marms? So I've been planning to do a project for a long time. At least 6 months now. That's when the prior catalyst I talked about a little miss event at a previous role really motivated me. There was just no life left in me to do that to the best of my ability anymore. And if I was going to do it, I had to do it on my own. Now, the Marmot character, that was something that came along 2.5, 3 months ago, I would say at this point. But the idea for the project and the idea behind the project have existed long prior to the Marm, for sure. Hello, like many, I was banned for having touched the reaction in Rumble. I was without glasses, haha. I immediately removed it, but I was still banned. That reaction literally says if you react to this, you will be banned. I don't know what you want me to do here. Um, it was there to specifically combat click bots. I can't disable it. Click bots farming Marm list are just not going to. It's I can't allow it. Marmot themed plushies in the future, possibly. Listen, like part of my roles at these prior projects has given me a vast network to work with people on things like that. I would never call them plushies. I would call them marmallows or something like that. You know, like squishmallows. I think the mimetic value of the name Marms is just too valuable to ignore. Um, but yeah, I think plushies are cool. IP possibilities are endless. Yeah, man. I think I agree with you, Luis. Are you guys going to tackle any niche or something specific on social media alongside things like possible Web 2 physical products? Yeah, I kind of just answered that with Blythe. Like, and I'll show you more here in just a minute. I'll give you a little Kratos exclusive on something that's coming along. Any eventual animations or IP branding across Web 2 platforms, like kind of following the PUBG plan. PUBGs were a huge inspiration. We definitely have aspirations to do those type of things. How big is the team? The team right now is 4 full-time members. Myself, my co-founder. My co-founder has always been my general partner in all things we've done crypto. He is the only person I would trust to carry on Marms if something were to happen to me the way that I wanted Marms to be carried on. The 2 community managers I've hired are people that I've had a lot of experience with. CY is one of them. He is the reason the Discord is as secure as it is now. He's a absolute whiz when it comes to Discord. And contrary to what other people believe, I do believe Discord is a driver of value for a project. There's no better method of connecting or conversing with your community than Discord. To me, Twitter's nice, but it's like it's a little more impersonal than Discord. The other community manager is Aka. Aka was someone I was introduced to by Trader Cause, and he was the admin for Cause's community. He later was hired at Dragons, and I loved Aka's approach to community events. Like I hosted plenty of community events with him, and we always had like a good chemistry, and we were able to you know talk and just get along very well. And I like the way he operated in those types of things. Based on what you're saying, the formula you are discussing with the gods really floor price equals activity of founder and team x community action plus utility. Yeah, that's the formula, man. That's 3 years in this space. That's the only thing that I think makes sense for a formula. What should we look forward to in this NFT project? Will this Marms project have utilities? Yeah, there's going to be stuff, man. I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna talk about it point blank. Is there a strategy behind the cute style of the art? I suppose it can lead to a broader Web 2 adoption compared to yeah that is the general idea compared to the style is aggressive and not usually yeah specifically I didn't want like smoking traits or anything in the collection just because I think those kind of things do alienate certain demographics. I wanted Marms to be something that is widely appropriate. Um, I think you I think you cast a bigger net with this type of strategy. I saw a few people having a discussion of Marms compromising their trust by trying to extract instead of fostering an organic community first. I want to hear from you. How important is it to have an organic community? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we've done to extract. I haven't done anything There's been zero money come from Marms. Mm. Yeah, that one kind of throwing me for a loop. Couple cues. We have seen Pudgies taking over the ETH world mainstream adoption over last year, creating strong IP via both Instagram memes and product plushie sales via Amazon. Honestly, very early stage, but you guys have similar long term goals. You know, the cool thing about this question is like when Marms had, I think it was under 3,000 followers on Twitter. The company that actually helped Pudgies get into Amazon and Walmart and stuff like that, they approached me. Um, and what they talked about was they saw something that made Marms that type of play with them. Now, I haven't entered super formal discussions with them, but yeah, we definitely have those type of aspirations, and we definitely have made connections that will empower that type of stuff. What's one of your favorite Marm skin traits personally? I think we have seen one Solana skin, Hemp Marm, as far as the non-common skins. I will not say no to a sneak peek. I'll share one with you in a minute. I love the concept behind the Galaxy skin, and I've also been kind of a duck nerd as far as the trait goes. And the duck hoodie you see in my PFP is one of my favorites from Marms. Would you over allocate whitelist spots? No, no, we're not going to over allocate whitelist spots. That's just not something I personally agree with. Um, we're going to work to. So the thing that we've considered doing is like we can't really guarantee 100% participation for everybody that has Marm list, right? Or everybody that gets pre-sale, right? You can't guarantee those type of things. Like I think it will be like a mint that is coveted by people, but still, achieving 100% is just something you cannot really plan for. So what we plan to do is there will be like a flash giveaway type structure, flash raffle, where people once Marm list and once pre-sales are fully allocated, we'll do something where there's only going to be X amount of winners, right? Like if we project somewhere around 500 Marms to be left over um, after the pre-sale and Marmless stage of the drop, I think it's a good idea to have like I don't know 2,000 wallets total eligible to mint those 500, and that would be it would just be like a first come first serve Marmless type of deal after everyone had already had it. It'd be called something other than Marmless to gate it, but it would be like a first come first serve public thing. Will you be providing communities from other chains with pre-sale and whitelist allocation? Yeah, we will be. What's the end goal of Marms project? How big are the Marms dreams? I kind of talked about that a little bit already. How to get whitelist without having art skills? Now this is where I'm going to stop alluding to things coming and just start telling you a little bit about where Marms is heading. So today we finally got delivery on some upcoming things to look for from Marms. So coming up soon, the website will be finished, and you'll see. Let me find this chat again. Sorry, we're jumping around Discord here so I can get this stuff to show you guys. I'm going to post it right here in the chat. I'm not going to go over anybody's questions here. I will go back to them, but just to show you guys this. So coming up, we're going to launch the website, and on the website there's going to be something called Marmaville. Now these sketches aren't finished or anything like that. They might look slightly different when this debuts. Once Marms kind of gained momentum, we started seeing that Marmless was being targeted and being farmed. Right? Like So we started trying to come up with a solution to how to distribute it, right? I always thought like a carnival theme was pretty easy play on words. You call it Marmival. And I'm going to tweet some of this stuff later. It's going to be set up like, Bankman Finance launched, I guess it was probably a month ago at this point. And I think Bankman kind of had a good concept with the game they had for whitelist. And I'll show you here what I mean. But this is going to be different from Bankman, right? I think we can all kind of agree that that was strictly extractive, right? So I'll go ahead and show you some things that we have ready to go for that. Marm list will be distributed via this game. The odds are going to be about 1 in 4, right? 4-1 odds on getting Marm list. 500 spins are going to be available daily. It's going to be 0.1 soul per spin. And you will say, okay, so that's purely extractive. But here, for just because the odds are 4-1, that implies there's going to be 3 losers, correct? This is where it gets different. The 3 losers are going to get a second chance token. If you get 5 second chance tokens, you unlock another will spin where you'll be guaranteed something. And this is going to show you the direction we're going with brand reinforcement, because I think you have to develop the brand in a project, and I think where teams who set out with this type of goal mess up is that they don't have anything ready to go. Marms isn't like that. We've already put. I told you we spent some money already. Now everything you see here is in hand already, um, except for the Marmot outerwear branded jacket. Marmot is a brand. It's not our thing. They did think it was pretty funny that we were called Marms though. So those are being customized right now. They should be in hand well before this launches. Um, Now, part of Marmaval is going to be tied to a back end with the second chance wheel spin, right? 4-1 odds, 1 in every 4 people is going to win Marm list. There's only 500 spins available per day. Um, Now, the losers will acquire a token as well, and 5 of those tokens will get you to this back end second chance wheel, where a prize will be guaranteed. Yep, these are the rewards for the second try, but that's not all of them. I know these are small items. These are things that we did to reinforce the kind of strategy behind the brand attack, right? We wanted the logo to be something that was durable, could be on all kinds of different textures, all kinds of different products, right? Subtle, clean. Um, Now, big ticket items are going to be on this wheel as well. We have 20 Saga phones. I don't know; those are my personal phones. I don't know how many of those we're going to have here. Point 0.5 in soul in spins is whitelist. Well, it's not guaranteed that way, right? Because just because odds are 4-1 doesn't mean you're going to win 1 in every 4 times. Like there's going to be variance. It's going to be completely random, right? If it was strictly 4-1, it could be gamed. That's not what's going to happen. There's going to be randomness involved. So yeah, theoretically, 0.5 souls should get you Marm list and um, almost enough to get a prize from this stuff. But yeah, that's not guaranteed. You're going to be a little bit subject to your own luck. Another art contest anytime soon? No, we're gonna close the art contest. Doesn't the spin the wheel allow for farming of the Marm list? I guess theoretically it does, but it, to us, it's a lesser evil than these things like awarding participation, because like the click bots and stuff are just destroying the Rumble, the Gartic, the things like that. Like there are bots set up where people can exploit those. So this is just asking for like a small fee to show that you really want the Marmless thing. We've already given away like somewhere like 500 spots or whatever inside the community, inside the Discord. But once Marm started gaining a lot of traction, a lot of hype, it was apparent we needed another solution. So the 500 spins, first come, first serve. Yep, that's all that's available per day. First come, first serve. I think we're gonna put like a wallet max of 10 spins. That's not 100% confirmed yet. A thing I can tell you about OG and Marm fam in the Discord is that those aren't white lists or Marm lists. Those are pre-sale. So I don't think it's going to be on the wheel. All right, let me get back up to some questions there. You had all the resources, time, and manpower available to build whatever you want Marms to be. What would you build the project to be? Holy shit, I don't know. I think we would cure cancer, I guess. That's a hell of a question, Tatter. I think the way I could best sum it up is I believe there will be like IP juggernauts arise from this space, you know, onboarding the next million to the space as a founder, you should run from that person because that shows a lack of conviction, right? Conviction to me is not wanting to attract the next a million people in the space. Conviction to me is understanding that next million is inevitable, and if you take care of your true supporters and true fans prior to their arrival, they won't have to go far to learn about you. And I think that's how like an actual IP juggernaut, an actual brand emerges from this space. Why left face though? I wasn't aware that right faced was a general rule in this space. Some of my favorite collections are left face. You know, I talked about Azuki earlier. I think Azuki is the absolute benchmark for art from the PFP community in the space. They're left facing. That right facing thing seems to be something that is a rule on Solana for whatever reason. And I've always wanted Marms to be different, so that that was the goal with left face. Shout out Codex Boroku Gang, yes sir. I just answered that. What is your accent? Sounds like a slight southern draw. Yeah, I'm from the south. Will Marms empower? Yes, everybody that buys a Marm will own the IP rights to their Marm. 100%. How do you set your project apart from projects that provide some similar utilities? I talked about this earlier. I think a lot of projects start with the goal of building this brand, right? But they don't really take any steps prior to launching to do that, right? Like I think OK Bears ended up like the butt of a lot of jokes just because of the wristband thing. But here's the funny thing: I think OK Bears would have been and still would be a juggernaut if they just had those fucking wristbands ready, right? Like that was a pretty big activator. Um, and I know it sounds funny to hear that, but you know the things I just showed you is steps that Marms is taking to not fall into that trap. Can we see the one on ones in this collection? I'll actually show you one in just a minute. Early on from the art contest, we had one person who made one that was so good that we reached out to her and we wanted to pay her to feature it in the collection, and that's what we're gonna do. Mint price. So, with Solana's volatility, I haven't felt comfortable putting a mint price out there, and I understand that seems like I'm just dancing around it or whatever, but I'll tell you, it will be less than Crypto Undeads. Like Crypto Undeads was a little bit over 300 USD. For Marm's list, it's probably going to be like 200. Pre-sale is going to be like 175. Am I making Marms a PG collection for future plans? Yes, yes, that was a huge part of the planning behind Marms, right? Like I wanted it to be pretty elastic in that the direction of it wasn't going to be limited because of certain aspects of the collection. And another thing you're pointing at here, like the response from women and ladies in this space to Marms has been incredible. Like I'm really excited about that. All right, now let's go down here. Any way to spot bots? So yeah, this is a problem we just deal with in space in general, right? Bots are kind of unavoidable, and the best way that talking with people who run these launch pads and stuff, the best way to prevent it that they found is by doing this little nominal fee type thing, right? Because it's harder for a bot to interact with that, and it also doesn't make it risk free for a bot to do it, right? Maybe let people win tickets for the spins. I think that's a good idea. I will have to talk with them about feasibility. I will have to talk with the devs about feasibility of doing that. Yes, Sleepy. I just answered that. Every holder of Marms owns the IP of their Marm for sure. What can you repeat what you just said about pre-sale whitelist with the Discord roles? Okay, Discord roles. Marm list is whitelist. OG Marm, Marm Fam, those are pre-sale. OG Marm is 2 pre-sales. Marm Fam is 3. What is the amount you are planning to pre-sell whitelist? It's going to be somewhere around a 50-50 split. It won't be exactly 50-50, but it's going to be like a balanced approach there. Are all Marms list spots going to these games, or we also allocate some whitelist spots through giveaways? Yeah, there will be some. Not all Marms list spots are going to these games. I think somewhere like it's going to be like less than 1,000 spots going from these games. No, the Discord Marmless roll is not different from the Marmless spot gotten from the wheel spin. The fee won't work with whitelist going for 3 soul. Yeah, I understand that. But what I don't think there's a perfect solution to it. So I talked with Tayo about this. I talked with Metaplex about this. I talked with a bunch of launch pads in how they kind of combat the bot issue. And what they told me is that the non-refundable fee is the best method they've seen because there's nothing that really prohibits the bots. There's just only things you can do to disincentivize them. You know better than most the majority of NFT projects fail. What makes you confident that Marms will be the exception in this? Right. Just drawing back on my experience, man. I have seen how the sausage is made. I know that's a little cliche or whatever, but I've seen what works in this space, and I think more valuably, I've seen what definitely does not work as well. And to me, that's way more valuable than what works.
Yo, Bagley, following up on this, what have you seen
Yeah.
so far being in the space that you would have changed, like, that, let's say, made NFTs projects fail, not even just IP, just generally that you fixed and created into mobs?
Yeah, I talked about it earlier. I think like I'm not saying Marms is strictly the IP art play or whatever. It's just that like projects I've seen do that approach. I don't think they've necessarily failed to execute. I think they failed to execute at a time when anybody was watching. It's like the old proverb of like if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? And I've always said no, it doesn't, because what what does the sound matter if no one hears it? So that's what Marm's is doing different. That was a goal behind Marmaville. Like I said, we like the concept that Bankman did with the whitelist games, but what we wanted to do was, I mean, we're not going to make. I know what we spent on getting these things. We're not going to make, the profit margin will be very small from Marmaville. Um, I think there will be a profit, but not anything. It's probably less than $5,000, honestly. Um, so those things are really, really, really in the vein of brand reinforcement. Just because I do believe it has to be developed. I don't think it can be the sole process or sole approach of a project, but it has to be a supplemental thing.
Also, I've seen quite a lot of references to Pudges, obviously because
Yeah,
of the resembles. Are you happy about it, or would you rather like being your own thing without
man,
being resembled?
that's high praise,
Yo,
right?
yo, yo,
Don't talk,
That
yo.
that's
Shh.
that
Yeah.
that is very high praise. I think that sets
yo.
expectations a little high, but yeah, I mean, Pudgies were definitely an inspiration. I think, I go back to whenever I first started doing NFTs, right? We were like at the apex of fear of COVID in in the world generally. There was just so much unrest, so much fear, and I was kind of heading towards a a rough mental space in my head as well, just because the general uncertainty, and I've got kids, and that type of shit is scary. But every day I would open Twitter and I would see these little fat penguins saying GM to each other, and I mean, that really lifted me up. And I know that sounds, immature of me or whatever, as a grown man, to say some little fat penguins on the internet made me smile, but it did. And that really spoke to the power of this space that we're in, right? Like, I think we, with the hellacious bull run, with the incredible froth that followed shortly after that, we kind of lost, we kind of buried the lead. Um, I think we're getting back to that now. And Quadman's right. Though Marmlist and the raffle winners that's the same role. They're guaranteed. I'm not gonna get someone to pay Soul for a spin, and then not guarantee their Marmlist. That was another thing that went wrong with that prior project.
Would you say the game is like a main part of Moms, or is just like a fun sighting, to get it
No,
going?
no, no. It's just a fun thing that we had, that we came up with to kind of combat the fact that Marms were getting farmed for Marmlist, right, in the Discord. I haven't, I don't, in that Discord, I haven't really been as active as I want to be, just because it is incredibly tough to keep up with how the general chat's moving. And it's not lost on me that, a lot of those people are just in there as a job trying to get the Marm list, because as someone said, it is selling for like 3 Sol. So yeah, that this is just something we came up with that I think is going to inhibit those efforts a little bit, and I think people that genuinely want Marms will be more prone to participate.
Was also
How many
curious.
whitelists?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
go on.
sorry, I was just reading one from chat. How many whitelist spots in total are going to the will game? The way we figured it, excuse me, the way we figured it, 4-to-1 odds, right? 500 spots available per day. The idea, it really hinges on how long we keep it going. Um, we figured if we keep it going for a week, we'll give away 875 whitelist spots. There's no guarantees it'll continue for a week, and we kind of won't even mention how long um, it's going to last. But that's like the max, 875 spots.
Yeah, so
All right,
what I
go
was
ahead. Go
asking
ahead. What's the
earlier,
other one? Yeah.
yeah, I was curious why you choose with the obviously there's like tons of approaches of how you should act with Discord. So I've seen you chose to close it kind of for the start, open it for a bit, and close it again, rather than
Yeah.
just open it for everyone. Yeah, is it like to create FOMO? What's the deal?
No. It was so Marms launched. I'm not gonna lie to you. It took off a little bit quicker than I expected it to. Like I thought when I formally announced it was my project, that would kind of be like a bull thesis for the project. But it kind of took off way before I was even able to get out in front of that. So at that point, I was like, I gotta get something going for these people to get into, and I wasn't happy with how the Discord was set up security wise until a certain point. So I did like first 100 use things, and then I did like a time limit thing. Anyone could join for a certain time limit, and that was just to kind of get people in there. And the goal of that was to award people, like genuine people, who showed up early to the project to support with marm lists and stuff. And I think from that we've given away somewhere around 500 spots. And yeah, a couple of guys even earned like OG from it. So that was just the general approach. It wasn't anything. I know you guys have given me a lot of credit for being a diabolical marketer, but I think most things that end up very successful in this space kind of do so with a lot of luck involved, and it's certainly. I mean, it's not lost on me that someone else starting up a project would have ran into more resistance than I have. Like certain doors have opened up for Marms because of me. I don't think that's anything negative about Marms. Honestly, I think it's really cool that it's happened that way. But yeah, it's not lost on me that there's been a lot of luck involved in this too. What happens if you win Marm list on the wheel but already have it? So yeah, you'll be able to connect your wallet to our website. So just connect with a burner if you already have Marm list on something. Right. I thought Soul was really lacking in the adorable NFT market. Like whenever I look at the broader overall Soul ecosystem, I did see a pretty big gap here. Like Clay or Mad Lads are on top, right? They're a very strong community. Tensorians to me are. It's gonna sound like FUD if I say this shit, but Tensorians to me were always fragile with that speculative thing behind them, right? Where they're speculated to get this token. Um, if I had to, I mean, I like the people at Tensor. I have friends there, but to me that was what was powering the NFT, right? It wasn't so much a community thing. If I had to pick a strongest IP on Solana, it would be Claynosaurus, right? I think most of us would share that opinion. And I'm good friends with Cabana, so I'm really I really love Claynosaurs, but they kind of have this problem where it's an animation, right? And nobody wants to PFP an animation. I know they still have the tool to crop it and everything for you to PFP, but I still think that kind of inhibits it a little bit, right? Like I think we saw this with Fraganas that people really want some kind of cute art to PFP, and I'm hoping Marms fills that niche. And broadly speaking, like these one of one NFT communities and stuff are great and they're thriving on Soul, but I think we do need something large like a mainstream collection to do well, just in Soul in general. All right. I told you guys I like to talk. I knew you would trap me into doing this for a fucking full day, but yeah.
There's
Any
actually a
other
funny
any other
story.
questions?
There's a funny story I want to say, Bugs. One of
Yeah.
our mods, Sterling, he got in your Discord before the team even got. He was like the fourth member, and
Yeah.
he got kicked. He got kicked, and he was so mad about it because he
Yeah.
was like, "If I managed to make it in so early, why am I being kicked? It should be rewarded or something."
Yeah, we it's not perfect, right? But it's more secure than your normal Discord for sure. We just kind of realized like Marms are quote unquote next up in a lot of people's minds in the Soul ecosystem. So um, it was going to attract a lot of bad actors. But the bot's not perfect. It does kick some legitimate people every now and again. But I'm sorry, Sterling. Sterling's actually my son's name.
Oh, that's cute.
So
Maybe adopt him.
yeah, yeah, I might adopt him. We'll see.
I mean, this has been honestly great for MMA, man. So informative, and tons of alpha. I'm pretty sure everyone is hype as fuck right now. I mean, just look at the chat; they're all
Yeah.
fucking hype. So, honestly, grateful and honored to have you, man. What people been speculating that this is your first AMA? I told him this is wasn't the first
Oh
official
shit!
AMA,
No,
right?
I've done like 15 of these things, maybe more. Like I said, people have asked for them constantly, and I've started to tell people no, but I promised you this weeks ago, and everyone that I promised that I would do one, I will do one for. There's a lot of back end stuff that's happening right now that have to be the focus of the work going forward for a couple weeks. But once that gets in a place where I'm satisfied with it, I don't care to do these all day. Like obviously, you can tell I've talked for a solid hour now. I like to talk. I don't. There's nothing off limits that I won't answer. So yeah,
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Bagley, honestly, because he's been talking to me for about a month now daily, and found the time, and he's actually a pretty solid guy, working extra hours, obviously, and I'm really seeing moms going places, so super happy about you, man, and obviously stack team like everyone from Boku and Yorg and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. There, I didn't just take the first people that wanted to be involved with me on this project. Right, there was careful consideration to how I structured my team. I knew how good CY was with Discord. I know how good ACA is with the community events. Like we just did a poker thing for Marmless spots, and man, there was like 1,300 people that showed up for a poker tournament with 7 total spots given. Um, Now, to me, that is like that's valid participation, right? It's not like clicking an emoji on Rumble, So we're gonna do some more things like that. Pre-sales are gonna. The plan is for them to start by the end of this week. Now, I don't want to commit to that. It might be the beginning of next week, but yeah, it's going to start relatively soon. Allow list there. Nobody like allow list distribution has happened, but nobody's been able to purchase anything.
Perfect,
Yeah.
man. Looking forward to what you guys cooking, and obviously it has been great AMA. I don't want to steal any more of your time. It's been an hour and 10 minutes, which is honestly a lot. I know it
Yeah, you guys,
personally.
you got to stop me because I'll just keep talking.
Yeah,
But we've got a call scheduled to Magic Eden coming up at 2. After that, we have one with Tensor, and yeah, the most of the rest of the day is going to be dedicated to doing calls. So I do have to go and find time to eat real quick. But yeah, yeah,
perfect.
absolutely. You guys had perfect questions. I enjoyed this. Kratus,
Likewise, man.
Kratus has
Yeah.
you have an army of you have an actual army, so this has been fun, man. I will tell you that this is the most people that have attended an AMA. Like usually it's around the 60 mark, but yeah, we were over 90 in here for most of the time.
We've been about 99, and there's like 10, 20 outside waiting, right? It's not like
Yeah,
this is the
yeah, yeah,
limit. Actually, that's
yeah,
what is funny. I want to make it
yeah.
first come first step because I see it as a right, not something
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
oblique to. And just to
yeah,
say, there is only like 420 people here. It's not like
yeah.
100 people out
Right.
of 10 right? It's actually quarter, more than quarter, and people outside waiting.
Yeah, and the
Look at
way
the chat.
you were able to like command them to behave, that was incredible, dude. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've got them all at gunpoint or what, but
I might all of them in the basement, man. You never know. You never
Yeah,
know.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
No, but look at the chat. Just look at the chat, man. And the confession booth, not the AMA one. I didn't even ping or
Okay.
something, right? It's just going on crazy. Marmies,
I did,
marmies.
man. I didn't even pay attention to this one. I was just operating questions from our VC chat there. I'm sorry if I ignored anybody.
No, no,
But yeah,
definitely, man.
I'll be
Definitely.
around
You've
here
been
until I'll be around here until Kratos kicks me from the community. So I'll answer any questions you guys ping me with in there to
fair
the
enough,
best of
man.
my ability. Yeah,
Feel free to look at the chat right now. I mean, it's going wide. People
I
super
see
happy,
it.
and
I see it. Yeah,
yeah,
I
imagine
see
this
it,
is
man. This is
400 people,
crazy.
man. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, thanks a lot for coming up, man. Been honestly
Nah, man.
great.
Thank you. I appreciate the hospitality and the warm welcome and all the love. I really appreciate it.
For sure, man. Also, one last question. Have you guys chose Launchpad yet? Because you said Magic Eden, but I'm not sure if you
We
chose a.
haven't. We haven't. But I don't want to sound like this is a brag or whatever. But they've told both of the all the launch pads have told me, whenever I want it to happen, it can happen. So there's no problems with time frames or anything like that.
Definitely,
Yeah,
man. All right. Sounds good.
we have not chosen it.
I might suggest an idea. They just brought up the diamonds thing. If you've seen lately, have you?
Yeah. On Magic Eden,
Yeah.
I've known about it for a while. I've talked with them multiple
Yeah,
times at
could
this
be cool,
point.
man.
So
If you could use these
yeah,
diamonds to buy some mom's whitelist. Imagine that could be pretty big, to be honest. If you
all
could
right.
work it out some way. But
Let, let me help. Let me get Faraz something here. He's asked for this, and I did say I would. So
yeah.
all right. I showed Kratus this one, but I really love this skin. I want to show you guys this skin. Now this is just like a base model of the skin, but I really love this one. I'll share it with you. He's already seen this though.
Oh yeah, I will share it in case. Wait.
Yeah, I like that. I like that skin a lot.
That kind of reminds me the skin from Adlats, the one with the galactic one. It's very fucking
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Yeah, it was actually the example I used when I had this concept, but I think they knocked it out of the park here with this, honestly.
Yeah, that's amazing. Honestly, I'm happy you chose left face. This is like part of the whole mom's uniqueness. No
Yeah,
one has chose moms
it
obviously
was
as a pet.
definitely it wasn't it was definitely intentional. It didn't happen by accident. I wanted something left facing. That was my call. So if it offends you, leave it in the suggestion box.
Yeah,
I'll promptly
definitely, man.
ignore it. Yeah.
Yeah, people weren't willing to adjust for changes. Probably not fit for this space.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that was the goal, just to be different.
All right, man. Thanks again, and been amazing. Don't want to steal any more of your time. Obviously, I'm gonna tweet about that because that's been pretty
Okay.
fucking
Yeah.
wild, and yeah, we get the word out as much as possible.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I like the Sinners community. You got a good thing going here, man.
Likewise, man. They're ready to support whenever.
All right, brother. Appreciate you. Take
Likewise, man.
care.
Have a good one. Bye bye.
You too.
Sinners, thanks for coming, everyone. I've screenshotted all the participants. I'll mute so you can go crazy or whatever. But I screenshotted all the participants, and whenever we get whitelists and pre-sales, I'm just gonna draw one of the participants, and one of you guys, is gonna win either the whitelist or pre-sale, whatever. Which, from what I know, we are getting both. It will be like half between 50% whitelist, 50% pre-sales. So